Welcome to PositiveMindset.tv, where each week we delve into the mindsets and see how they are creating our experiences. From our finances, our careers, our children, our health, our relationships. Hi, my name is Lisa Myers, and I am so excited to have you here today. It's a new year and it's a new you. And I invite you this year to really go into that inner perspective of creating a new you, a healthy you, a financially abundant you in all aspects of your life. Today, we're going to talk to Dr. Chad Frandsen about lose weight, stop migraines, live healthy by keeping your head on straight. So join me as I talk with Dr. Chad Frandsen in Google Hangouts. We're going to be talking with Dr. Chad Frandsen today, and our subject is lose weight, stop migraines, live healthy by keeping your head on straight. So a little bit about Dr. Chad Frandsen. First, we're going to be talking about, and you'll let me know if I'm to say this right, but it's NUCCA, and he's going to give us tips to improve our overall health. Dr. Chad Frandsen is it just a NUCCA, or is it just
yes, it's pronounced NUCCA, yes.
NUCCA practitioner working in the Salt Lake City area. NUCCA is a very specific, gentle, and long-lasting correction of the upper neck that takes pressure off the brainstem, rebalances the body, and alleviates the cause of pain. Dr. Frandsen was born and raised in Sandy, Utah. During his early years, he was driven to become a violinist. With the talents he developed, he received a music scholarship at Brigham Young University, where he received his bachelor's in music in 2004. After teaching high school and junior high orchestra for a few years, Chad decided to pursue another passion in the field of healthcare. For almost a decade, his fascination with an upper cervical chiropractic technique called NUCCA had been growing. He had seen tremendous results personally, and the results had by close friends and family. Chad received his doctorate from Palmer College of Chiropractic in Davenport, Iowa. Then after graduating, Dr. Frandsen moved to Las Vegas, where he associated with Dr. Robert Goodman, one of the most successful NUCCA doctors in the field. Dr. Frandsen established and is the owner of the Wasatch Spinal Care in Sandy, Utah. Wasatch Spinal Care is a chiropractic and wellness center that focuses on restoring human health without drugs or surgery. Their main focus is the NUCCA spinal correction and nutritional counseling. So welcome, and thank you for being with us today.
Thank you for having me on, Lisa.
So tell us a little bit first about you and going from violinist to chiropractic.
Yes, well, I grew up a pretty normal kid. I loved to ride my bike. I loved to jump on the trampoline, all of these different things. I know I fell off the trampoline a few times. And just, had a normal life. And I thought, as I grew up playing the violin, I thought neck pain and back pain were just a normal part of life. I didn't think anybody didn't have them. And so till I was about 21, I lived that way. Well, when I was 18, I was driving downtown in Salt Lake, stopped at a red light, and somebody decided to plow into the rear end of my car. Bumper fell off. I got whiplash, but a couple weeks later I was feeling fine. So I was actually almost to the end of my mission, my LDS mission. I served in Taiwan. When I got to the point where I was so uncomfortable I really couldn't sleep at night. I would fall asleep and not stay asleep. And after about a month of this, discussing things with my leaders over there, we decided I would come home and try some of the medical care here in the United States. And of course their answer is, here's a pile of pills, why don't you take all these pills? So they put me on some pills that really didn't agree very well with me. Had some pretty bad side effects, and after 2 weeks of that, my mom said, well, we're going to try another chiropractor. And I was pretty hesitant because I'd been to chiropractors in the past, and I thought, well, they just want me to come back 3 times a week for the rest of my life. And so I went to this NUCCA doctor. He took some films of me, And he said, it looks like you've had some injuries. When, did you have a bad car accident? I'm like, well, in fact, I have. I mean, my neck was perfectly straight. There should be a curve in your neck. And at that point, he worked on me, a very gentle correction up at the top of the neck. I didn't think he was doing anything. I thought, I'm never coming back to this guy. Yeah. When I got off the table, I felt like something had changed. I went home that night and slept better than I had in months. And NUCCA had my fascination at that point.
Wow. So with that, because, I've dealt with chiropractors, and I know that, there's, like you said, there's a lot of hesitation. I think part of the hesitation, too, is that the old myth of, they snap your neck, they crack your back, and I have had some chiropractors that, you're laying on your back, and they're moving your neck around a little bit so they can snap it quickly, and you're like, okay, is my head still attached or not? So it's kind of nice to know that there's something different than the old-fashioned, because I really think that things have improved,
right,
from the beginning of chiropractic.
And, they're still teaching those old methods. I had to learn all of those in school, which I don't know, I've never been one that could get my neck popped with the traditional chiropractic adjustment. This is so much different. I didn't even know the guy I went to was a chiropractor. We take 3 very precise x-rays of the upper neck to find out how the head and the neck are misaligned. And then I have just a very gentle correction. You lie down on your side, you barely feel it, but I'm taking contact with that first bone in the neck, moving the head and neck into a perfectly balanced position, and it shifts the whole body. So it's just we have different goals than the traditional chiropractor. They're trying to move fixed segments and relax spinal ligaments, where I'm trying to rebalance the body from the top down.
And so by rebalancing and so forth, because like our title says, lose weight, stop migraines, live healthy by keeping your head on straight. How is keeping your head on straight going to help facilitate those?
Well, I find that this is the most holistic approach to improve your health. The nervous system, which runs the body, it's the wiring of the body. If we can take pressure off from that brainstem, then the brain is going to be able to communicate with the body at a higher level. People that come in here, I've seen people come in and their blood pressures drop. NUCCA has done some pretty extensive research on that, and I've seen it in my own office. It's getting that nervous system to function properly. Digestive issues, there again, that vagus nerve that comes out of the brainstem. If I can get pressure off from that brainstem, some people notice some tremendous results. And I don't treat anything. I'm focusing on getting the body into a balanced position, and then I can see how that improves the health of my patients.
Well, I would think that if your head, and I had somebody explain it one time, is, kind of the weight of a bowling ball. If it's sitting straight,
right,
it takes off the pressure, but if it's misaligned a little bit, there's a lot of pressure there. I would think that if I felt better, I would be more active.
Yep. And I'm going to show you this picture. This guy here, you can see, he's standing up straight, but he's in a very imbalanced position. You can see that he's tilted, his shoulders are unlevel, his hips are unlevel, and one leg shorter than the other. This is what I call body imbalance. And when you're like that, something's going to hurt or malfunction. The number one thing I treat in my office is actually low back pain, because the muscles are tighter and tenser on one side of the spine than the other, and it puts pressure on the nerves and the discs in the low back. Number 2 would be neck pain, then headaches. Headaches, we have great results with headaches here. But this is kind of what most of us look like to some degree. And here's a little bit closer up. This is what I call body imbalance. The head and neck are out of balance. So my goal after taking those 3 x-rays is to work on somebody until I get their head and neck to look like this. And I find that on the post x-rays. I try to get all of those quadrants into 90-degree angles, and people's health start to improve when I've gotten them into that shape right there.
So, what about these the people that have like the major problems with their back. Is going to do this going to help, like if you've got discs that are, out of whack, out of alignment, by just doing that one, is it going to align the other ones?
With most people, yes, because if the head and neck are out of balance, the muscles on one side of the spine are tighter than the other. If I can get the head and neck to shift back to this new position, the whole body will line up, the muscles will relax, and a lot of times it'll take pressure off from those discs in the low back that bother a lot of people. I remember I had one 30-year-old patient come in here with multiple herniations in her low back. She was headed for surgery, and her dad told her to try this before she went in. She's still a patient here, and as long as she's holding her correction, she is pretty much out of pain. She hasn't gone in for surgery yet. So that's just one of the great results I've had with some of my patients.
Yeah. I would think also, all of the anybody that's been in sports.
Yes.
And because I look at my granddaughter, and playing soccer, and grandsons playing football and so forth, that are, some of the things that happen to them. Is it a good idea, even for, because like you say, it's a specific x-rays that are being taken.
Right.
Is it a good idea then for everybody, just as a general health, I would think, to go in and have x-rays to see if your head is on straight?
I, of course, would say yes, and there's also, I can do checks on you. I check your posture. I put you on a bilateral weight scale. I check your shoulder levels and different things. I can know if you're in or out of balance without taking x-rays. Because there are checks I do that show me whether you're in or out of balance. So I only take x-rays on patients, usually one set of pre-x-rays, then I adjust them and take post-x-rays. If I've gotten the misalignment out, then that's the same pattern they usually have unless they've had another bad accident.
Yeah.
So getting checked, come in for a consultation. If you're having symptoms, then we can find out if this is right for you.
So what if, because this broadcasts everywhere, how can people find out about NUCCA doctors if they're not in the Salt Lake area? And I know that you've got a special gift for those that are listening today, but how can they find out about NUCCA doctors?
There's a website, NUCCA.org, and you can go on there, and there's an international directory. There are NUCCA doctors all over the world, mostly in the United States and Canada, but I know of one in Australia and one in England. There are a few around. There's only 200 of us altogether, actually, in the 200s. And there's also a link on my website to that directory at wasatchspinalcare.com.
And I will have that listed on our website, and we'll show it up here as well. So, and wasatchspinalcare.com again?
Yep.
Okay. And then also just a few things on how can people help to improve their health, if they're not yet ready to make that jump to go see a doctor. Is there something that they can do, by their sleeping habits, by exercising, or something that can help them create a little bit more balance in their body?
Right. So my first thing is always NUCCA. I try to get their nervous system back into a really balanced position. Then if patients want to take their health to another level, I usually start looking at their diet. Diet is the number one thing these days. I mean, you can exercise and exercise and exercise, and unless you change your diet a little bit, you're probably not going to lose the weight that you want to. So I'm actually a health coach. I use standard process in my office, as well as some Take Shape for Life for people that just are looking to lose a lot of weight and to get healthy. It's the best I've found as far as getting weight off and keeping it off and getting the inflammation out of your body. So a lot of patients that come in and maybe they're not holding their corrections as well as they should, I try to put them on a very non-inflammatory diet so that the foods they're eating aren't causing problems and making them lose their correction in different things. So there are numerous ways to help your health nutritionally, which is something that we all need at this point.
Absolutely. And we will be talking more with Dr. Chad Frandsen on our blogtalkradio.com/Lisa Myers, and that's LEESAMYERS. And so we can get down to a little bit more on the positivemindset.tv. It's just the time frame with a video kind of shortens everything. So I love to always introduce our topics and then go into more detail on our Blog Talk Radio show. So I would love to have you go there, and that will air not this Monday, but the next Monday. And we will be able to talk with Dr. Chad Frandsen a little bit more in detail with that. So where can they, again, let us know where they can find you and where you're located at in Salt Lake, and how they can get, how's best to get in touch with you.
Okay, so my office is actually in Sandy. The address is 8706 South, 700 East, suite number 103. I'm just a few doors north of the Sandy post office there in Sandy. And my phone number is 801-508-2996. My secretary's name is Mary. She does a wonderful job. Give her a call. You know, if you're interested about NUCCA and you'd like to come in for a complimentary evaluation because I'm here on this show with Lisa, I would give you that, and then the first set of X-rays I'd actually give you half off on. So, but come in for a consultation if you think, you know, I'd just like to see if I'm out, and I'm not a high pressure guy. Just I'll educate you and let you know kind of where you're at.
Perfect. And again, Dr. Frandsen, I appreciate you being with us today, and I look forward to talking with you more on the Blog Talk Radio show. So everyone, again, go to wasatchspinalcare.org or .com?
.com, yep.
.com. And if you are here in the Salt Lake, Sandy, kind of this area, give Dr. Frandsen a call and check and go into his complimentary. You know, and the reason why I say this is that my daughter, when she was 13, she was very much into sports and so forth, and she loved jumping on a trampoline, and she kept complaining that her hips hurt, and I just kept saying, you know what, it's growing pains, just get over it, it's growing pains. And finally her coach called me and said, you know, I think that this is more, because she was noticing that my daughter was starting to have some loss in her abilities.
Right. We
take her to a back doctor, never met him before in our lives. He has his assistant take x-rays, so we hadn't even met the doctor yet. Took x-rays. We went back into the office, and he said, your daughter needs a back fusion.
Oh, wow.
And my daughter slid down, was kind of sliding down the wall, going white, and she had, and I tell everybody, it cost $65,000 to say this word, but she had spinalolisthesis.
Right.
Which the spine was coming off the sacrum, and she was over 75% slipped.
Wow.
And so in 8th grade, she ended up having 2 rods and 8 screws in her back. And I just kept saying, hey, don't worry about it. It's nothing, you know. And I also attribute that to, part of it, I think, is those trampolines. That's just my belief. But I don't think that, you know, I just don't think they're safe. So, you know, all you parents out there, I think that it's just a good, you know, a good thing to just go and get checked if you've got children in sports. This is a very easy, safe way of finding out versus, because I often wonder if I would have waited, if I hadn't have waited, and when she first started complaining about backaches and her hips hurting, if it would have not gone to the extent that it went to.
Yeah, could have helped quite a bit.
Yeah, so I invite all of you parents, especially if your kids are in sports. My daughter, also, what we did with our grandkids, because she was actually working for a chiropractor, when they were born, she took her children in, going home from the hospital, to just get them lightly adjusted, to kind of get that head and the spine and everything lined up. And you know what? They didn't have the colds and the flus and all of the stuff that kids have.
Right. I see children with earaches and different things. If we can, if you can get the spine aligned, you can prevent a lot of health problems that come up in childhood.
Yeah.
And like I started the show with, I said, I grew up playing the violin with neck pain and back pain all the time. But after I'd had this spinal correction, I started sleeping better. I went off to college playing the violin for probably 8 hours a day because I was a music major. And as long as I was holding that correction, I didn't have the back and the neck pain that I had become accustomed to while I was growing up. So there's just, there were a lot of different times in my life that I noticed being in alignment as far as a NUCCA spinal correction really helped me be out of pain.
Absolutely, and I think that's key too, because living your life in pain is not the way to go.
No, and it's very common, but it shouldn't be normal. We need to realize that if you're in pain, there's something out there that can help, and the NUCCA spinal correction is one of the best ways I know how to get people out of pain.
Perfect. Thank you, Dr. Frandsen, and we will see you again on Blog Talk Radio Show, and that will be Monday, January 13th. So I look forward to talking to you more on that day.
Thank you, Lisa.
Thank you. Have a great day.
You too. Bye-bye.